What's up, guys? Roland here. This week on 3D NerdStop, we're going to print out a candy dispenser. Alright, guys, here's the model we're going to print out this week. Now, this was actually a viewer request. I had somebody send me a message and ask me to check out this model, and, well, I did, and I thought it was a pretty cool model, so we're going to print it out and see how it works. So that being said, this is a vending machine. It's a little like gumball machine. It dispenses candy or whatever you put in it that can survive not being refrigerated. So yeah, candy. It works on quarters, so it's a quarter vending machine. So you put a quarter in it and turn the handle and it dumps out candy. So that's what we're going to do this week. So to start with, the first thing we'd always do is we download our files. When we click download, you can see it gives us all of our copyright information on it, as usual. Alright, so once we download everything, then we're going to switch over to Cura. And here we go, I've already got her loaded up in Cura. Now, we're going to go over our base settings here real quick. We're going to do all of our prints this week at 0.2 layer height, at a shell thickness and top and bottom thickness at 0.8. We're going to do the fill density at 15%. We're going to do our print speed at 60, or our print temperature at 210, and our bed temperature at 50. Alright, now on this particular one here, we are going to do support material touching the build plate. Alright, mostly because when you look at the underside of it, there's a lot of areas that could use support. So we are going to print it with support material. So that being said, this model here is going to take 37 hours and 13 minutes, 168.77 meters of material, which is 503 grams. So it's just a hair over a half a roll. Alright, the next model we're going to print out here is the back plate. Alright, on the back plate, doesn't need any support material, so we turn our support material off. Everything else will be set the same. So the back plate itself is going to take 6 hours and 57 minutes, which is 35.42 meters of material, which is 106 grams of material. Alright, moving on to the next model. Okay, here's our next model. It's the drum that the candy goes into that gets dumped out of, the faceplate and the handle that spins the drum. Alright. On this, we are going to need support material. We're actually going to do support material everywhere because this right here needs a lot of support. So it'll fill this up full of support material, so that'll be supported. Plus, it'll put support material inside these arrows and inside here. And it will put a little bit of support material inside here. So that being said, the rest of the settings are all the same. Now this is going to take 9 hours and 18 minutes. Which is 42.87 meters of material, which is 128 grams of material. Alright, moving on to the next model. Here's the next one. This is all the little parts and pieces you need to put this thing together. The only one on here you have to do anything with is this one, is the clip. You need to multiply it, because you need 3 of them. So you put one down, and then you tell it you want to multiply by 2. Other than that, you do need support material touching the build plate because of this overhang right here. So therefore, this could use some support material. Other than that, you don't need to do anything else to this one. Alright, all of the settings being the same. It's going to take 3 hours and 48 minutes, which is 16.79 meters, which is 50 grams of material. And moving on to the last model. Here's our last one. Last one here is the jar itself. As you can see, the jar looks pretty cool. Now, the jar I am changing a couple settings on. I am going to do 100% infill because I want the jar solid, because it's hollow. As you can see here, it's hollow, so you don't have to worry about it filling inside there. But I don't want there a gap between an inside and outside wall because of the thickness of the jar itself. So I want it 100%. I'm going to print this in a clear plastic. As you know, the clear filaments when they print, they're not 100% clear. They're just really opaque. Has no color to it, so that's what we're going to do. I have found with my the opaque plastics, it prints better at 200 than 210, so I'm going to print it at 200. This one doesn't need any support material. Now, I did find when I printed this one, we can switch over to layers here real quick. It's kind of hard to see, but if you look inside, you can see right here, there's a gap. And those gaps are these little spots right here and here. They're kind of hard to see, but they're like little bumps right there. They're so thin that it doesn't actually print them when it goes to print it. It just leaves little gaps there. It's no big deal. They're not too big. Depending on what kind of candy you put in, they shouldn't cause any problems. Okay, so that being said, this is going to take 6 hours and 33 minutes. It's 33.93 meters of material, which is 101 grams of material. Alright guys, so I'll get everything saved off to the SD cards, and we'll get the printer heated up and get her printing.
it's just like, man, you got to have that time where you just like disconnect from the scene, just the race. Like, and it's a race that I've created in my head, you know? But you have to step away from it.
All right, guys, here you go. We've got all the parts printed out. Now let's put her together. Going over this model and looking at all the pieces, I can only see 2 little pieces that need to be glued, so we'll go ahead and take care of those first. So we'll just move the body out of the way so we have some room to work here. And we have the coin disc. And then we have the coin register arm thingies. I don't know what else to call them. And these go right here. Okay, and what they do, as you can see this, is it sticks through the hole here. And when it sticks through right there, that's what keeps it from being able to turn unless you put a coin in it, which pops it out of the way. So I'm thinking, and I could be wrong and we will find out, that if I put just a drop of glue there and a drop of glue there to glue this in place, that will make that piece function correctly. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to try it. The worst case is I have to reprint this and reprint those, and that's not that big of a deal. It's not a lot of plastic. Put our coin piece here, put that in place, and put our coin piece here. Alright, now we got the 2 pieces in place. Now we will give them about 20 seconds to set. Alright, so we got those glued in place. Now they're drying still, so they just need to set. So we'll just set that off to the side. We are going to use it here shortly, but I think by the time we get around to putting coins in it, hopefully it'll have dried enough we won't damage it. Alright, so the next thing we have is we have the faceplate of the machine. Okay, so this piece, if you have the body here, this goes here on the body. Okay, and all these pieces fit really nice and tight together. As you can see, I had some support material in here. And, well, I didn't have the settings quite right. I'm still trying to get those quite right. And it's a little rough inside the arrows, but it looks okay anyways. Still looks pretty good. So we're going to go ahead and use it. What we're going to do is we're going to flip this over. And on the back here, we have these pieces that we printed. Okay, so here's where the coins come in. Well, here's where the coin goes in and it spins, and this is where it drops the coin off. So this goes on here, like so, and it does not appear to need any glue. I don't need to glue that on. I believe the pressure of the whole thing holding together is going to keep it together. And then this piece goes over here, clips on there, and there we go. We've got that. Now you've got the ring we just added those pieces to, and it drops right in here. Like so. And see those little pieces I put in keep it from turning. Because if I take this out again, if you look right here, there's a little hole, and it has an indentation, and the little piece of this sticks out through this hole and catches right here to keep it from turning. It's rather ingenious if you ask me. They did a really cool job figuring that out. So you put that on there. Alright, so that's got the faceplate done. So we'll set that off to the side for a second. And we will go to the drum real quick. Alright guys, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to put the drum together. Alright, this is the drum. See, it looks pretty good. It has a really big cavity inside. Excuse me, it has a real big cavity inside. The person that made this model says it gives out a lot of candy, which is a good and bad thing. If you were trying to make money on this, it'd be a bad thing. If you're just doing it for fun, it's a great thing. So this piece should go here and snap into place. It does take a little work to get it to where it goes into place properly. But once you get it there, as you can see, it just rounds out the back of the barrel. Alright, so we have that done. So the next thing would be to put the faceplate on here with the wheel. Oh, sorry, we have to drop the drum in. I'm getting all turned around. Turn this over, and then you have this little piece here. What this does is this catches the little bumps back here. So when you spin this around, it only lets you spin it one direction. So you take this, and this piece goes right here. And it goes in pretty deep, so you might need something to push it in. You need to get it all the way in so it catches where the drum comes into play. Okay, so I don't know if we can get it to focus and show that in there, but you can kind of see it that it's in there. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to drop the drum in. When you drop the drum in, it kind of runs into it. So you have to kind of stick your finger in here and get it up out of the way. And there we go. Now that lets it, but only lets it turn one direction. There we go. So now we've got it set up. So the hole, if you look, you can see how it spins it around. So now we have the hole set up on top, which is the way we want it to start. So we have our faceplate. We take this and we put this in here. Alright, so that now has the coin mechanism in there, and the drum now inside with our pin in the back that keeps it from being able to spin the wrong direction. Arrows telling you which way to spin it. You have a handle that easily just presses right on the front. You could glue that on if you wanted to, but then you can't ever take it apart. If you ever need to take it apart to replace a part, I recommend you don't do that. Okay, so we have the handle there, and you can turn the handle however you want to start with, so it can look however you want it to. Alright, now inside here, it's kind of hard to see. You can see where the gray comes through. There's these little clips here that you have to stick your fingers down in there and put through the little holes that are in there, and that keeps the faceplate from being able to come off real easy. And I don't think I'm going to be able to put those in place on camera because it's really hard to get your hand down in there, and I probably got to get a pair of pliers and stuff. So I'm going to do that off camera real quick and come right back, guys. Alright guys, I finally got the 3 pins put in the back. It was a little bit of a challenge. It took, in order to do it, basically my tweezers for my robo, so I could hold the pin and get it down near the thing because it's really deep in there. And then something to smush the pin down and kind of move it in a little bit, and then something to tap it in place. That's what it took. You would not have been able to see anything because it took 2 hands and blocking everything. You wouldn't have been able to see anything I was doing. So, that being said, we've got those in place. Now we've got the face in place. You can see that it's locked in place now. So to test it before we go any farther, what we'll do is we'll put a quarter in it. Quarter goes in the face here at the front. Oops. A little tricky to get the quarter in. Oh, helps if you have it squared. Put the quarter in, and then there you go. All the way around, and locks back in place. Seems to work. And our quarter is now inside the machine. So we got that done, so that looks good. Next thing we'll do is put the back on. Okay, so this is a nice simple part. Just take this real quick. Line all this up. The back does go on. It's a little snug. There we go. That's the back on. So the back's on and in place. Alright guys, so here's our jar that we printed out. And as you can see, it's got little holes in it here and here. It's because at that point it was too thin and the printer just couldn't print it. There's also supposed to be a flap here in front that goes over this. But when I tried to make it work, it just broke. So that didn't work for me. That was a failure on that. So we'll just toss that off to the side. I'm not worried about it. But as far as the jar goes, you have the locking ring. Now you can actually do this with a real mason jar. You don't have to do it with their little model. You can use a real mason jar. That way it's perfectly clear so you can see whatever you put in it. But you just take it and put the collar around it. Then it just hooks here in the front, like so, and folds back. to the back, and then you just stick these inside here and push down. And then you could put a lock back here to keep the kids from breaking into it and taking all the money out. Okay, so there you go. And there you go. You have the full candy machine with the bottle on top. That's what it looks like. So it's pretty simple. You take it, you put the quarter in the front, and then you'd spin it around. It deposited the quarter inside the bank. It would drop down some candy that would come out here. Now, sadly enough, I don't have any candy right now, so I can't put anything in it. I'm going to have to go buy a bag of candy so I can show you all it working one day. One of the reasons I say that is by looking at this, it's really a cool print. I think the jar is a little small on top of the printed one. So I'm thinking what I'm going to do for next week's video is let's make a round ball on top, kind of like a gumball machine would look like. And we'll print one out and we'll go through and make the model and everything. And we'll go through and make it in Tinkercad, and that way you can see it and we'll see how we make one. And then we'll just make a ball up here. So next week we're going to do a video where we're going to replace the ball on top of the jar on top of here with a globe to make it look more like a gumball machine. And we'll put some candy in that, and then we'll get it working. All right, guys. So there you go. There's our candy machine. Real easy print, real simple print. Does take a little bit of cleanup. You have to clean the parts up a little bit. I did wind up gluing the handle on. It just worked better gluing the handle on. The handle is glued on. If I really needed to, I could probably break it free, but I probably won't ever need to. The model works great. Just make sure when you put it together, you make sure you clean all the parts up and make sure they all run smooth next to each other. Other than that, it works awesome, guys. Thank y'all for watching. If you like what you saw, please like and subscribe. Please leave a comment down below. I'd love to hear from you. Until next time, have a great day.